Medical staffers staged walkouts after talks with the government failed to bear any fruit. Now, the workers demand better pay to deal with the rising inflation that has currently breached records of last 40 years. Our correspondent Alex Izad brings you more on this story. Take a look.
The United Kingdom health infrastructure is reeling under consecutive strikes by its medical staffers. Wednesday marked the second day of ambulance workers' strikes, as a bitter dispute over pay and working conditions with the government continues.
We haven't received any official offer or really any mention of figures or numbers, and that's why we need to sit around the negotiating table. Come and sit with us, tell us what the government's thinking, and we'll tell you what our members are thinking, and together we can hopefully resolve this dispute.
After failing to achieve a breakthrough during talks with Health Minister Steve Barclay, thousands of medical staffers staged a walkout, willing to respond to only most urgent cases. In London, ambulance staffers held placards and banners at a picket line outside the ambulance service. The protesters include ambulance workers, paramedics, call handlers, drivers and technicians from across England and Wales.
Don't look at the ambulance workers or the nurses and blame us for the state of the NHS at the moment. Don't blame us for patients waiting for ambulances or waiting to be offloaded at a hospital. That's a government issue. That's not my issue. I come into work to do a job, and my job's being hampered by underfunding in the NHS. We haven't put a figure on anything. We're not greedy people. I just like to have a little bit more money in my pay packet at the end of the month.
The current round of strikes among British ambulance workers is terrifying for patients in need of urgent care.
But he talks about what's terrifying, Mr. Speaker. What's terrifying is right now. What's terrifying is that right now, people not knowing whether when they call 999, they will get the treatment that they need. Now, Mr. Speaker, in Australia and Canada and the US, they ban strikes on blue light services. We're not doing that. All we're saying is that in these emergency services, patients should be able to rely on a basic level of life-saving care. Why is he against that, Mr. Speaker?
Britain is experiencing a wave of industrial action as pay rises fail to keep up with double-digit inflation. The British government introduced legislation in Parliament on Tuesday. The legislation requires key public services to maintain minimum safety levels during strike action by workers. The bill could take months to become law, while opponents argue that it is likely to be challenged in the courts.
The NHS is struggling right now. We'll hear later today whether the junior doctors will also go on strike and whether we'll see any further nurses' disputes in the next coming weeks. The government really do need to step up and do something before even more chaos is caused.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.